Welcome to LSC, it's sports time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have with Hampton University head football coach Donovan Rose with me, and I'm glad to have you here. I appreciate you coming in.
It's great to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Well, let's go back a little bit. You didn't grow up in the peninsula, but you grew up in the 757 area.
Yeah.
You over in Norfolk.
Yeah, grew up in Norfolk, born and raised, and been here all my life basically, and so it's a great area. My family's growing up, so looks like I'm going to be here for a while.
Well, that's good. Now, you played ball where over?
Yeah, I went to Norview High School, played with Bob Tater back then, and you know, had some fond memories back in the mid-'70s.
Okay. Now, but you didn't play just football, even though that's what you do.
Yeah.
You played a lot of sports.
Well, actually, you know, I was a baby boy, and I had a brother and two sisters, and I kind of followed their footsteps, but I ran track and basketball and football.
Right. Was football your love? Or?
Well, you know, it's just I kind of looked at it, and I was kind of following my brother's footsteps, but you know, I kind of like hitting people versus getting hit, and I couldn't shoot as well, so I said, well, football, I'm going to stay with that.
Okay, and you became a pretty good defensive back, we know that.
Yeah.
But now you went to Hampton University, but not a scholarship.
Yeah, again, I didn't know what the process was. I thought, you know, when you go out and you play football and you do well, that people are going to knock on your door and invite you to come in, but when I came out of school and nobody was calling, nobody was knocking, and so I got a call from Walter Levitt. At that time, he was the head football coach at Hampton.
Right.
He told me if I come on and walk on, I got a chance to earn some money, and so I took that route.
All right. So you walked on, which is unusual because most everybody now, they think, okay, I get a scholarship.
Yeah.
But walk on, that means you had to prove yourself.
Oh, without a doubt.
And obviously you did because the second year you got scholarship.
Yeah. I walked on. There was about 50 freshmen at the time, and no one had, you know, any you know, concrete, you know, foot planted in the cement saying that this is going to be what it is. I had to go there and had to, you know, compete. And, you know, I just stayed with that. And I managed to make the team. And my following year, they gave me a scholarship. Okay.
Now, you went from high school to the CIAA.
Yes.
Big jump.
Yeah.
And the competition a little different.
Oh, without doubt.
Talk a little bit about the experience of how you made the adjustment to the quicker, the stronger, the better athlete.
Well, actually, when I was in high school, a lot of people don't know, you know, I didn't have all the tools back then. I mean, we didn't have a weight room, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. And so when I came out, I was a little small kid, probably about 155 pounds, about 5'10", you know, wasn't very strong, and went to Hampton, and, you know, about 2-3 years later, I got stronger and got faster, got bigger, gaining about 30 pounds my first year. And, you know, and I said, you know what, I think if I keep doing this, I might have a shot. And, you know I wanted to go further, but, you know, at the time, people didn't really think that I had the opportunity to do that. But I had a great career at Hampton and managed to do some things and had a chance to do something when I left there.
Okay, so you graduated in '79.
Yes.
You don't get the call from the pros.
Didn't get the call again. You know, naive. I was listening by the phone and I was thinking, you know, it was draft time. I was going to get a call because I had made basically every All-American you can make and Player of the Year and all those type of things. And I got by the phone and people were calling me saying, did you get drafted? I said, no, get off the phone so I can hear the phone, right?
But it's not back then when you had the call waiting.
Yeah, we had the call waiting. I said, you had to get off the phone. But, you know, I sat by the draft back then. It was like 16 rounds.
Right.
And, you know, or 20. I'm not sure what it was. But I know I never got the call. And but then I graduated in 4 years with a business degree, and I said, you know what, they hadn't heard the last of me, and I went down to Atlanta and I tried out for some free agent tryout camps, and managed to get picked up with Kansas City Chiefs.
So you basically walk on again.
Yeah, without doubt. You see, you know, to me, I'm kind of, you know, biased to those type of players, you know, because I like those underdogs that, you know, nothing is appeared to be a silver spoon in your mouth, and so you had to work for it. And so I think when, you know, in this day and age, when you work hard, good things going to happen. You just got to keep plowing and keep driving, and, you know, good things happen. So I've always had that mindset that if you work hard, you know, good things happen.
Well, did you think that a lot of the athletics that you did and that kind of helped you do that, to be able to walk on? You had a lot of confidence in your own ability.
I guess my family structure, I think that was big. You know, my mom was a school teacher, my dad was a construction worker, and, you know, they instilled the belief in me that I can do whatever I want to do if I set my mind to it. And my work ethics, you know, I knew if I wasn't big or strong or fast enough, what I had to do to get there. And I kept doing that. And it's kind of carried me to this day. But, you know, I worked hard, and like I said, I gained those pounds. And next thing I know, I'm getting an opportunity to try out for, you know, Kansas City Chiefs. At the time, Marv Levy was the head coach. And I remember he said something to me back then, my rookie year. He said, you know what, Coach Rose, Don Rose is very green. And I didn't know what that meant, you know. But all I know is that I ended up making the team, and so I just left it like that.
Right. Well, and then you also played up in the Canadian.
Yeah.
Football
Matter of fact, I played 1 year with the NFL, Kansas City, and then at the time, you know, came to that next year, I didn't understand the politics of NFL, and they drafted extra tight end, and so instead of keeping 7 DBs, they kept 6, and I was the 7th DB. So, you know, they let me go, and I went up to Canada. Willie Woods played with Green Bay.
Green Bay, yes.
And he was the head coach at Toronto, and gave me a shot, and the rest is history.
Well, you won the Grey Cup, which is the Super Bowl in the Canadian League.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always, everywhere I've been, it seems like that good things are happening, and I wish I could speed it up and go to present tense, because right now, again, that's exactly what I'm doing. I want to be the best at whatever I do.
Right.
And being in Canada, I had a chance to play, you know, some great athletes back then. Matter of fact, when I played, the money wasn't too much different, you know, so it was a good thing to be up in that area. But I played for 5 years in Canada, won the Grey Cup in '84, and went to the Grey Cup again in '85, didn't win, but, you know, I was around that type of atmosphere. So, you know, after I left there, I knew it was something waiting for me back in the States.
How many people never get a chance to be in a championship game?
Mm-hmm.
You get to be in 2 of them, you get to win 1 of them, which is great.
Yeah.
But then in '86, you go down and visit Don Shula.
The same thing again. when I left out of Canada, you know, they wanted to keep me, and I played up there and had a great career, and, you know, did some good things. But I knew I wanted more. You know, I wanted to get back home. I wanted to get back in the NFL, and so actually I had to walk on again. But it was more like a free agent walk on, and I had teams kind of, you know, vying for my services, and I went to Tampa the first week, and then the next week I went to Miami. And Don Shula, I always remember that he came out and he had those glasses on that you know, the mirror glass, you couldn't see his eyes, and had his arms crossed like this, and I was saying to myself, I said, that's Don Shula. But, you know, he came out, and at the time, Marino and Clayton and Duper and those guys, you know, I had to make the team covering Mark Clayton. I don't know if you know who those guys are.
Well, I know who Mark Clayton is, yes.
You know, I tell you what, something happened that day, and I guess I impressed them enough, and they offered me a contract, and I ended up playing for them for 2 years.
And then you got to play, well, not on the same side of the ball, but with Dwight Stevenson.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, it's a true story. Dwight and I, you know, I knew Dwight was from Hampton High, and I had scrimmaged him when I was at Norview back in the day, and they beat us, of course. But, you know, Dwight was a center, all-pro center, and I was the free safety, you know, starting safety. And one day in practice, I had to come down and blitz. And, you know, Dwight was an all-pro guy, and he looked up, and he had the hands like this. And looked, and he saw me coming in, and he started laughing. And I started laughing, because I knew that, you know, there's no way I'm going to get by him. But Dwight was good. I mean, I enjoyed playing with him for 2 years, and without a doubt, he's probably one of the best centers I've ever seen.
And then you led the team in interceptions.
Yeah. Again, it's, you know, it's something about, you know, the work ethics and things. I always shoot for the best, and I ended up leading the team in interceptions. And, you know, I remember I saw a preview on Emerson, the guy from Dallas.
Emerson.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Emerson Walls. And he was saying that, you know, for you to be the best, you know, you got to work at it. And in practice, I remember he said he caught everything that he could and all that stuff. And that's what I started doing. And, you know, from that day forward, you know, I had a pretty good career. And I think I left Canada with like 19 interceptions. Wow. But, you know, I managed to come back, and had a chance to do it at the Dolphins. But it was great. I enjoyed it. And I wouldn't trade, you know, playing in pros for any experience. It was a great experience.
All right. Now, you retired from the pros. Mm-hmm. You did some other thing, business, mm-hmm. but in '91, you went over to Hampton University.
But you know what? I came back home. I'm from Norfolk, and I was at the time when I left Canada. My wife at the time was, you know, she was in law school at Georgetown up in Washington D.C. area. So I went back home, and I was going there and kind of look at it and see what type of business I would get into. And I got a phone call from the president back then, Dr. Harvey, and he asked me, he said, "Why don't you come on back home?" And I'm from Norfolk, and I said, "You know what? I'll do that. I'll come home." You know, he said, "No, I want you to come back home to Hampton."
He's talking about the other home, the one that you played ball at.
Yeah, and I had no idea. I said, "You know what? You know, I could do that. You know, because I'm just leaving the pros. You know, I still had a little bit left in me. I was about 32, 33, and I said, "You know what? I'll give it a couple of years." And that was my goal, to come down and give it a couple of years. But little did I know what happened after that.
21 years.
21.
You're still there.
21 years. Yeah, it took 21 years.
But and since you've been there, in those 21 years, mm-hmm. 14 championships.
Yeah. those championships, and it's great. I had a chance to be under Coach Taylor for 17 years, and you know, and as far as the recruiting aspect and development and all those type of things, you know, I kind of learned, you know, the business, and then probably after about the 4th or 5th year, I said, you know what, I might can do this, because you know we were having success, and you know, I was having a chance to show my skill and my skill level as far as teaching some of the players. I was a defensive back coach, and we had a lot of great defensive backs that went on and did well. And you know, next thing you know, you start winning that habit. It just start, you know, kind of, you know, just getting on me. And next thing I know, here it is, 15, 16, 17 year, and I think after that 18 year, you know, most guys again probably would have gone other places, but I was patiently, you know, just working hard, and I get a call again to be the head coach.
Wow, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But during that time also, not only did you graduate a lot of student athletes to play ball, 225 if I remember correctly, but you sent 50 players to the pros.
Yeah, you know, and to this day, I think, you know, a testament to our staff and to the philosophy at Hampton. But a lot of those guys, I think last year we had like three that went this past year. But a lot of those guys, you know, they get prepared. You know, a lot of our coaches over the years, we've had some who's been there. But, you know, when those guys, I think in 06, we had 5 guys went to the combine. That's kind of unheard of for FCS, you know, program. But, you know, we attract those type of guys, and we think that we can, you know, give them the type of skill level that they can do to play on that level. But, you know, a lot of those guys, they come and they think, hey, I want to go to pro, but I also tell them statistics. Statistically, it's not going to be in your favor. But if you can play, you know, those scouts will come and find you. And for whatever reason, you know, 50 or so guys later, you know, those guys are still coming back. And so we feel excited that we're able to do that.
Well, you're talking about your staff, and I'm real friendly with one of your staff, DeVan Hill.
Yeah.
DeVan, of course, played over at Hampton. I mean, over at Bethel High School, and he was on a championship team that won, and was with Coach Kaz, we talked about earlier. And, you know, to have a hometown youngster on your staff's got to help you some.
Oh, without a doubt. And I got smart. I've got coaches pretty much that kind of represent different regions. I know, starting with Keith Gogain as my defensive coordinator. Keith went to Virginia Beach, went to Green Run High School, and a local talent. You know, I went to Penn State, got drafted. You know, played with Buffalo and Jacksonville, and I think, you know, he brings that mentality. And of course, DeVan Hill, defensive back coach. You know, went to Bethel. I also coached DeVan at Hampton when he was a secondary. My offensive coordinator, Willie Sneed, played at Florida, Virginia. You know, played in the pros. You know, I've got another wide receiver coach, Lamar Thomas, played with the Miami Hurricanes when they won 2 national championships. You know, I've got my special teams coordinator, Mike Villagrana, played with West Virginia. My offensive line played at Wisconsin. You know, so I've got a bunch of guys that have a great deal of wealth and experience. And I think that's the biggest thing. You know, our success right now, I'm not putting it all on a player. I think that, you know, our coaches are in position to put guys in the place they need to be. Now, what we can't do, we can't, like that saying, take them to the water and make them drink. We can't make them drink, but we're going to put them in that position. So hopefully if they, you know, over the years, if they understand that and, you know, we're able to recruit, you know, some of those type of guys that come in, I think we can keep this thing going. But I'm excited. I think it's, you know, it's been a while since we've, you know, won. The last championship we won was in 06. And so this is my 3rd year here. And so that's my goal, to get us back there.
Right. Now, talk a little bit about your coaching style. I know it's call it simple, but competitive, what do you call it, competitive greatness? Competitive
greatness, you know, that's performing at your best when your best is required. I mean, right now, again, you know, you have to, you know, put yourself in position. I mean, to whatever you do, whether it's, you know, banking or teaching or lawyer, whatever it is, mine just happen to be athletic, sports. You know, you have to be the best at it. And to do that, you know, you got to put yourself in that position. And so right now with me, I start off, philosophy is very quick. I want to be the best that I can be athletically, socially, academically, because it's, you know, I can't have a guy who just all he's interested in is just football. You know, I want that well-rounded individual. And
which
so
makes sense.
If I get my coaching staff like that, and then my players, I keep it simple. I want them just to do the best they can. I want them to be fundamentally sound. I want them to be technique sound. I want them to give everything they have. I don't want 100%. I want all you have. Give me all you have, and then you apply those traits, and you know, we apply the techniques and the philosophy and things like that. I think it'll work together. But I think now what's happening is our guys are buying into it, and you know, the integrity and the character of my staff. You know, I also want to have the integrity and character of those players. But I think if somehow, if you get them to buy into, and they believe in what you're doing, I think the sky's the limit.
Right. All right. Now, let me ask you, a lot of people don't hear this all the time, 757.
Yes.
Why are there so many great athletes from the 757 area?
I'll tell you what, that's a great question. I don't know the mixture of, because you've got all these different cities, Virginia Beach and Norfolk and Newport News and Hampton and Williamsburg. I mean, so many folks, and it's like a melting pot. You've got a military base, and you've got, folks that come in and, do vacation spots and all those type of things. But for whatever it is, we got some great athletes here. I mean, going back from the Ken Easleys to the Dwight Stevenson, the Bruce Smiths, the Michael Vicks, the Allen Iverson. It goes on and on and on. But I think now that what I like about it is so many here that, the Virginia, the Virginia Techs, and the other schools in the state, it's enough to go around. It's enough to go around. But even with that, if you find those athletes that have those great attributes that it's going to work hard, those work ethics, because a lot of times, I'll take a guy here, and he might be a more talented guy versus a guy here that, may not be as talented, but I trust him more. And so a lot of times, I would lean toward that trust guy, because the guys with the talent, if they don't have what it takes, mentally to do what it takes and to go to class and to do the right things, then, when the pressure gets on, he's going to fail you. But that guy that you can train and you trust, and that's going to abide by your rules and regulations and do those type of things, you can win with that. So, and football is a team sport. So basically, it's not individual how good this person is. I want that team. I want that atmosphere. And so right now, again, if I have coaches that can buy into that, and don't get me wrong, I still want some great athletes, but if I get everybody to buy into it, I think that's how you become successful.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
I've got a son. He's a good football player.
Okay.
Recruiting.
Oh, without a doubt. I guess the first thing, I want to meet that son's dad, his mom. I want to go to his school, his teachers. It might even be the janitor at the school, but I want to know about him. I want to know what type of person he is, and again, when I come to that person's house, finally from their mom or dad or whoever house he's staying with, I want them to be able to trust me, and so again, I'm going to tell them everything I can about myself, but I want them, knowing that they're going to feel comfortable that, I'm going to take care of this son. And that son is going to have a great environment. And so, because a lot of times when you look at it, you got 3 or 4 decisions in your life, that you're going to make that's major. What school you're going to attend, who am I going to marry, and what job will I have. So that first one, that school, a lot of times I like, no offense, but I like talking to the mom. I want them, because the mom, that's their baby. Absolutely. And I want them to feel good about, they know that the son is going to come, he's going to get an educational piece. Football is the last equation. When I talk about recruits and all that kind of stuff, of course, you got talent. If you didn't have talent, I wouldn't be recruiting you.
Right.
But that's the last equation, athleticism. I mean, that's it. I want to make sure that, you buy into it, and what do you want to become? I want to let them know, what they're trying to do, because again, let's say if you do play football, if you do happen to be great and you get an opportunity to go in the pro, the opportunity, you might play 2 or 3 years. But, you got to go somewhere and take advantage of that scholarship that's going to prepare you for life.
Right.
And so that's the approach that I take. And, over the years, I've had some good ones, so I feel pretty good. If you give me a chance to talk to mom and dad and I invite you on our campus, I think the best things will happen, because, again, like I said, now those who do want to play professional, if you can, our statistics, it shows that. Those that want to get an education and want to be successful as far as in the job world and what have you, our statistics shows that. But more importantly, you want to feel good about your son or daughter, that they're going into a place that's going to be, cohesive to what that parent wants. Because like I said, now, you may find the dad may want the guy to go up the ladder as far as athletic. The mom wants to get the education, but you want to put all that together. So my thing now is find as much as you can and just be real with them. What you see is what you get. When you come in and you see myself and my staff, and you see that we're genuinely concerned about your welfare, and and the athletics is last. And don't get me wrong. And once we get them on campus, I mean, we're still going to do those things, but we also, that 20-hour the NCAA give us, we're gonna get the butter from the duck.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming in. Thanks for tuning in to LSC in Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest, Donovan Rose. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Until next time,